So fun. Hi, everybody.
It's an interesting time of year, Gabs. I'm curious how this will look for people who are in the foundational athletic settings and preseason and all of the things. I know there
Oh,
was like,
yeah.
I can't make that. It's cool. We'll send you the recording. But I'm glad you
Yes.
guys were able to pop on.
Same. We're going to give everybody a few minutes to kind of work their way into the space. But if you can, if you're available to put your face on camera, we'd love to see some faces and talk to real people. If you are around and able to type into the chat, we'd love to hear where y'all are tuning in from. We're stoked to be here today, y'all.
Yeah, this was definitely like a little bit of a pivot from the work that we previously did back in June which was really about the yoga rehab method. But dang, there's so many questions on, well, how did you do this? How did you get into business? And there are literally questions every single day, whether it's women in athletic training, secondary school athletic trainers. And I feel as though, as someone who served on NATA COPA, we've really kind of skirted around answering those questions.
Mhm.
So this should be an interesting conversation, and it's just the beginning. And hopefully we can provide some insight to the questions for those who answered our short little survey, but also inspire you to take action.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, do the damn thing.
Yeah.
That's the biggest piece, is just doing the thing. Because man, do we get caught up in, I don't know, our own selves.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Robin
Oh,
Murphy.
hey, Robin from Mashpee. My sister, my mama lives in Harwich. My sister's in Eastham.
And every time I see a double rainbow, I think of you.
Sweet.
How long has it been since you were an athletic
Oh,
training student of mine?
really putting me on the spot there.
And you're making me feel
Um,
old, so there's that.
Me too. I think I was with you my sophomore year.
Okay.
So that was like 2010,
Okay.
2009.
It's been
Yeah,
it's
2010.
been a
We'll go
minute.
2010. It's been
It's
it's
been
been
a
a little
minute.
bit. Hmm.
Yeah. One of my favorite things that Robin and Melissa, who was
Hmm.
the other athletic trainer, they would come in with YouTube videos every day for me to watch and just kept me with it. And that was back in the, I don't know if you guys remember the it's double rainbow. Whoa. I don't know. If you have not seen that, then you need to go to YouTube. It's probably from like 15 years ago.
Yep.
But core
Yep.
memory,
Great video. Mm,
core memory unlocked.
Love that.
love that.
Oh gosh. Hi, Brian. Good to have you here. So I think our intention, Gabs, was to kind of go to 12:05, give people a minute to check in. And again, this is recorded, so we'll send this your way. So for some reason you have to hop to a meeting or something, life, you'll get the recording. So
Yeah, life is lifing.
life's
Um,
always lifing.
yeah, thank y'all for tuning in. We got some people from Virginia, JMU, Massachusetts, Florida, excuse me. We got people from that was Florida and Orlando all put together.
Shoot,
Florida.
where are we from? Where are you from?
I'm here in Connecticut. I'm right on the shoreline, and I'm in Westbrook today, but I live in Old Saybrook. So
Brilliant. And I'm in central Connecticut. And I don't think any of you guys were in our first workshop. So the fun story about Gabby and I is we found each other on Women in Athletic Training, the Facebook group. And hey, Indiana, love that. We found each other on Women in Athletic Training, and we were talking about yoga and athletes, and that's our passion. And I don't know, we started the dialogue, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm in Connecticut." I was like, "No way. I'm in Connecticut." And it's not a big state, people. So,
no, no, and it's so fun. But y'all, I think
Tennessee.
the biggest piece I think for me and Jen was that we just had a lot in common. From a standpoint of we were both athletic trainers for a long time. We both then found out that we were missing something, a piece, that just wasn't fulfilled in the fully like traditional athletic training setting. We both went off and did our own thing. And then as we were doing our own thing, we were searching for community. And that's really a big piece as to what we're going to be talking about today. And
Sarah's from Tennessee.
oh, hey, Sarah from Tennessee. I'm just leaving I was in Nashville for the last 10 years. Um, cool. And then I see upstate New York. Perfect.
Love it. Love.
So let's stick to the kind of that business standpoint. We want to hear where y'all are at in your journey. And so some of y'all might be side hustling. Some of y'all might just have like a lot of cool ideas that you don't really know what to do with or to take into action or what action to take, what to do with the ideas that you have. And then some might just be here to learn, see what's available. And so hop in the chat if you can, and just let me know where you are at in your journey as far as the entrepreneurship ship goes. I know. And so from that, though, we want to be able to kind of tailor this directly for y'all. So if there's a ton of not just, but if
Have
there's
ideas.
of ideas happening, we want to start planting the seeds as to then how to take this idea to action. If there's a bunch of people that just are already in the thing, we just kind of want to tailor our focus to the people who are obviously are showing up live for us right now.
Yeah, and from that survey, I will share that everyone who answered have ideas but haven't gotten started. So that seems to be like the trend that, and probably like, I just want to learn something and I'm curious. But if there are any business owners that are here, let us know for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
And so Jen and I'm going to mention this. We don't pride ourselves in being business coaches. This isn't a brand we're trying to grow as like how to be grow your own business and be a business coach. At the same time, we've done it. We've done it for many years, especially together. Put not us together individually, but if you put the two of us together, we've been doing this for a long time. And I'll mention we've been doing it legally and we've been doing it. We've been making some good money. And so we'll talk about our individual stories here in just a second, but looking to turn my ideas of providing AT services to the general population. Yeah, heck yeah. Love that. Assistant professor at St. Mary's. Oh, nice. Getting Stronger EP. We'll look you up on Instagram to connect. Perfect.
Love it.
Yeah, building community. I love that, Erica. I like you're in the perfect place. Have a few people I do sessions for as favors. We'll talk about that too. Paid in everything from Venmo to coffee. Oh, Jackson, yes.
We've all been there.
And we've been
We've
there.
done
And I have bartered for some weird stuff in the past. My latest barter was a sauna bag. You know the sauna bags? Yeah. So nonetheless, there is a time and a place to barter. There is a time and a place to find a nice exchange, and we all have to pay our bills. So Jen and I have talked to this at length. Like, yes, and there's always another piece. And so not in the thing, ATC and CSCS, back in school for another cert, looking towards forming a business in the future. Deborah, I was, and probably piece of me am you. There is a piece of what I call imposter syndrome. But it's let's get another cert. Let's get certified in this. Let's do this. And like for me, and I'm not trying to project this on you, but how this showed up for me was I never felt good enough, for lack of a better word. I never felt credentialed enough. Like, who am I to be doing this thing? Who am I to have, I mean, charging $250 for a session with me? Like, who am I to do that? And so very much so, here to support y'all in grounding into everything that you already know. You know enough. We got to take something now. Let's create some action in the doing. Maybe,
and I'm just looking at the chats too, Gabs. A lot of kind of dual certs. I am also an ATC CSCS, which is helpful. And so lots of those conversations, but I love seeing that a lot of you guys are already starting to kind of like dip your toes and kind of see what might land and opportunities and making some money and how can I do this the right way? without
Yeah.
hitting any wrong, bad, naughty buttons.
Yeah. Jen, can you show us your shirt?
What's that?
Can you show us your shirt?
Me?
Yeah, one of the perks,
Oh,
y'all,
oh,
of being a business owner is making your own merch. So
yeah.
I would love to formally introduce my girl Jen. Jen and I are the co-founders of the Yoga Rehab Method. We teach athletic trainers how to become yoga teachers and how to set sequences and really how to take yoga and the world of movement and mindfulness and how to apply it to our athletes and to athletic trainers. So we teach athletic trainers mindfulness, and again, a set sequence of yoga. And that is really what we have built together. But separately, Jen is the owner of Concentric. And she, man, okay, I don't want to give Jen's bio. This is what I set out on. And so Jen to me is one of the people who knows so much of what I don't know. Her focus and just I truly like when you think you found like the perfect blend for you, both athletic trainers, but Jen, she works in the one-on-one setting with people and she takes all of her favorite modalities and creates programs for her clients, for her at a one-on-one level. She also works and goes into different sports teams to work and to teach yoga, mindfulness pieces. But my favorite piece of Jen is that she takes the nervous system from a totally different lens of mindfulness and applies it directly to the patient in front of her. And so whether if it's eye training drills, if it's breathing drills, if it's physical, like more of our traditional physical therapy type movements, if it's red light therapy, if it's cupping, Jen takes what she knows and directly then applies it to the people in front of her. And I know in all of our settings, that's not always possible. But I know Jen and the transformation she has been able to create in other bodies has been profound based off of the needs of the people in front of her, not just based off what she knows. She and I say this with such a beautiful open heart, and I know I'm not using the perfect words, but from a place of just because she knows something and she knows it might work doesn't mean she's going to give it to the person. She's going to take that person with where they're at on their journey. And if they're not ready, like if they're not ready for the cupping or if they think they want something, she might just give it to them, but then allows the body in front of them to do the work, not just like I need to shove this modality or make this exercise fit the body in front of her. She's very much able to take a step back with an open lens and be able to watch bodies move and speak directly to the people in front of her. Again, whether it's through modalities, if it's through exercises, if it's through a yoga practice, that is one of my favorite things about Jen, and what she's been able to teach me in the different ways of using the nervous system, using the nerves, using eye drills, using ear tugging drills, but talking to the nervous system, again, through the physical lens of the body. And so I will let Jen continue to introduce herself, but just to give you a different view on different than her bio and what I know she's putting out into the world. So without further ado, Jen, I would love to know
Hey.
what sets you out on this entrepreneurship journey.
Well, amazing. And my heart is completely full. So thank you. I know that was completely like, you know, off the cuff. So thank you, Gabby. It is very meaningful to be doing what I'm doing. And there is absolutely no way that I could lean in to my skill set as an athletic trainer in the way that healthcare is currently designed, right? So to be able to see people and really listen, really take the time to appreciate the way that their body is and meeting them where they're at. You know, I worked in a secondary school for many years and industrial setting. There's just no time for that. And so one of the main reasons that I felt the call to shift from being an employee to being my own boss was really twofold. One, time. The way I wanted to treat did not align with the model that was structured. And then the second reason I made that transition is I felt unsupported. I always had these big ideas of how to be better as a professional on a personal level, and also to grow those that I was working with, the team that I had created, I always wanted to lean into more. And you were just not set up that way as athletic trainers, unfortunately. There obviously are some lights of room to grow, but for the vast majority of us, we're kind of stuck in this little box. And Gabby knows this. I don't like being told what to do. And, I think for me, that was another push is when it came down to it. And I just wasn't feeling lit up by the industrial setting. That was the last position I held. I did that for 3 years and I just was not using my full skill set. And I know I had more to give. So I could have said, I'm done with athletic training, or I'm going to take what I love the most about athletic training and well, shoot, if it doesn't exist, I'm going to figure out to make it exist. And, I think that's kind of how I got to this place. And, there's no roadmap. And it's fun that the title of this is your business blueprint. There was no blueprint. And, it's exciting to find other people who are like-minded, but the ability to treat people as a human being, as one structure, not a knee or an ACL rehab or an ergonomic assessment. That is my core value. And in terms of like feeling fulfilled and having an energetic exchange, I think you alluded to that earlier, it was unfulfilling for me. And I knew that I needed more. And I still love athletic training. I am a big advocate. I serve on committees and all of the things. So I'm still very aligned with the profession. But again, doing it in a way that aligns with my core values. And thank you for, mentioning my obsession with the nervous system, with the viscera, and how that impacts our musculoskeletal health and pain and that whole experience. And I know that we share that. And that's one of the things that we cross over with is looking at that person in front of us and taking this whole body integrative approach. And, for me, I found Gabby and I remember going to her website and I was like, God, this girl knows her shit. Mm-hmm. And, the energy that she brings, the knowledge, the space that she holds for people who are in a vulnerable state, whether it is maybe longstanding pain, injuries, whatever that might be, the ability for this human here to hold space for them, meet them where they are, and to support them as she has done for me is just a beautiful thing. And we are not selling, I hate that word, but we're not selling cupping and stretching. We're selling us. Mm-hmm. They can go do that at a stretch lab or go get cupping at a massage therapy clinic. They are buying into us and how we meet these people where they are. So I think that's really important. And Gabby is an amazing example of that. People want to work with her, pointing through the screen. They want to work with her because it's something, je ne sais quoi, something that she has. And that is going to serve others who are considering going onto this path because it's solving a problem. Mm-hmm. And what are we doing as athletic trainers? And Gabby solves problems, maybe a little different than what I do, but she solves problems in a different way. So she's been the CEO founder, I'm not sure of your official title, of Soul to Soul Wellness, and you've been in various states as you've operated, but continued to crush it. So tell us about Soul to Soul and how it came to be. I can't wait to hear about it.
Yeah, thanks. So Soul to Soul Wellness is the name of my company. I was working I went to University of Connecticut for undergrad. I wanted to get away. I went to Auburn University in Alabama for my master's. And after my master's, I was burnt out, right? We're working 60-hour work weeks as a GA. And I mean, I don't have to explain any of this to y'all. First one in, last one to go. And obviously as a graduate assistant, way underpaid. We're not paid. I went to school. I got to school. I did get to go to school for free. Such a blessing. At the end of the day, I wanted a traditional setting to work in, set hours. I went to work in a physical therapy setting in Nashville. It was my first big girl job. And it was awesome. And insurance dictates what you can and cannot do with people. And as an athletic trainer in the state of Tennessee, there's just certain things I can do and can't, excuse me, I couldn't do that I could do in Connecticut. And that to me is also outrageous as an athletic trainer. And so, with that being said, for me, when I moved to Nashville, I didn't know how to make friends because I had built-in friends, right? Through grad school, through undergrad, and beyond. And so I started going to a yoga class. I love movement. From there, I joined and went to teacher training and for yoga. And teacher training is typically offered at a 200-hour level. An anatomist came in to teach that anatomy, and she said we need to find a common language, and she chose anatomical vocab, which we all know is 99% Latin. And I was the only one in the whole class out of 17 of us who understood what the heck this lady was talking about for over 20 hours. And I just found after the 20 hours of being with her, everyone said, Gab, what was she saying? Like, what's going on? And I found my niche doing that. So I would go into other teacher training programs and I teach the anatomy portion. First of all, because I fell in love with the yoga practice, it saved my life. My personal story, I will tell you, my yoga practice saved my life. I had a lot of trauma happen. And I just kept showing up to my mat and I found myself there all over again. I continue to find myself there all over again. It's my favorite practice. But I found a void. I found a space where my knowledge was more than so welcomed. Our ability, y'all, as athletic trainers to and not even dissect in a grandiose way, but just to talk about the body in general population terms, so helpful. That's what the world needs. And so with that being said, the more I was working with people, the more I continued to grow, teaching anatomy in different programs around Nashville, I started to find my community. And from there, I started having people reach out to me to work with me. I would be teaching a class and be like, hey, my shoulder hurts. Can you help me find some different modifications and variations? But yes. And so, was it Jackson that was saying he has bartered? Was it? Yes, I bartered. I started the barter system, and it was for nothing. I mean, coffee and my knowledge, y'all, is so valuable. And I know I went to grad school for free, but I was working 60-hour work weeks, in at 5:30, out at 9 p.m. I know y'all know this life. And so for me to say like, oh yeah, no worries. Let me just take an hour out of my day to give you this. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not anymore. And I can say that because I've been doing this for a long time. Absolutely not anymore. And I want to empower all of y'all. So, but with that being said, I definitely then quit the physical therapy office and I just started my own practice because I had to, because I was no longer fulfilled in the traditional setting. And to Jen's point, I didn't want anybody telling me what I could and could not do just because it was billable in the state of Tennessee based off the patient in front of me's insurance, what they had or didn't have. And so we saw a void, we saw a need, we filled the need. And I want to empower y'all, get more specific. If there's anything I could have offered myself when I first started, it would be to get more specific. What pain point are you solving? And so, yes, you might be solving a physical aches, pains, so on and so forth. That's not why people are there. They're there seeing you because they can't do what they want to do in their life anymore. Right? I worked with a lot of athletes. They want to go out for a run, weekend warriors, but I worked with a couple ultra marathon runners, those crazies. I call them crazies, to each his own, but who like want to go out and run 100 miles in a weekend. I worked with a bunch of those. There is a mindset shift that has to happen. But there is a mindset shift that has to happen for all of us so we can charge our worth, So you can actually have the words to voice what you need to, what you want, what you need, what problem you solve, but there is an overall confidence. And so I think this is the best place that brings us to mindfulness. Right. And so from a mindfulness perspective, Jen, I'd love to hear about some of the shifts that you've seen, and some more of like kind of the behind the scenes of being a business owner.
Yeah, for sure. I think you segue right into a business mindset. And, entrepreneurship is an interesting biz, and we'll kind of get to that in a few minutes. But you have to consider, in terms of mindset, there's some sort of impetus that puts you at a crossroads that says, I am not happy with the status quo and I need to make a change. And if you're here or if you're listening to this conversation, you might be there, coming up to it, maybe have gone over that crossroads, but are like, I need to figure things out. So if we think about athletic training as a profession, again, I am a huge advocate. Why people leave: time, money, and they feel unsupported. There may be other reasons, but that becomes your fuel to become a problem solver, right? And what is the problem you're solving is the most important question that we need to ask ourselves as an athletic trainer who is considering a business model, right? So Jackson already responded. I put in the chat, we are so passionate, obviously, about what we do. Hopefully you guys can feel that. And I asked, what are you passionate about? That is going to help you to determine what that pain point is that you can offer into the world. For me, the pain point that I would like to solve is showing up and holding space for people as a whole human being, and they feel failed, or however that wording is, they were failed by traditional physical therapy. They've maybe jumped to different doctors, and how it goes. You get your x-ray or diagnostic, you get your script for PT, then you get your cortisone injection. Like, we know this, right? And there's so many other factors into the pain experience that we just might not have the bandwidth in current settings to address those things. So my pain point is showing up for people and treating them on an organizational level: brain, nervous system, viscera, gut, looking at like their threat bucket, meaning, what is showing up for them that is inhibiting their ability to heal. And sometimes making space for them to listen is huge, right? So we talked about, pain points. Number one question: why athletic trainers are leaving the profession. That typically resonates with a lot of people. And then, okay, you make the decision. I'm ready. I'm going to do this. You're going to take action. That's the hardest part. So know that we know it's hard, but sometimes any step forward is a step forward. Knowing that when you go into this realm of entrepreneurship, of business mindset, as an athletic trainer, there are things that we are really good at. And that's taking care of people. Our skill sets are great. Usually our communication is really great. We have manual skills, rehab, but fun, we're not prepared for business. We're not prepared. And how can we handle that realization that you are now the bookkeeper, you are now the marketing coordinator, you are now the social media content creator, and that might be easier for some than others. You are now paying taxes. You are now needing insurance. You also need to find business.
Yeah.
It's not simple as I want to do cupping on the weekends for extra income. It sounds lovely, but it doesn't happen that way. You need to connect with people. So networking for me as an athletic trainer, loved it, hated it, avoided it at all costs, went to conferences. No, I would rather sit in a corner by myself and look to when it's over. It's uncomfortable. I didn't like it. But if you want to be successful in business, there is some personal work that needs to be done that sets a stage for one, connecting with others without an agenda. Can you connect with others? Number one. Number two, can you describe what it is you do? We struggle with that, I think, as a profession. And so I've been doing this 7 years. And I feel like I am literally just getting there on how I could be in a room of people knowing nothing about athletic trainers and being able to concisely tell them what I do. Yeah, exactly. So we hear elevator pitch. Can you describe what is the problem that needs to be solved and why you're the best person to do it? So thinking about learning what you don't know, and that's all usually wrapped around business. Learning how to describe what you do. And lastly, being able to form genuine connections with people, putting yourself in a room with people who maybe know more than you, especially when it comes to business. I don't know how you did it, Gabs, but when I went into business, I joined my Chamber of Commerce. That was the first thing I did. I knew I don't know anything about marketing, about the behind the scenes work. Like you figure it out as you go, of course. But surround yourself with people who are already doing it, who are smarter than you.
Mm.
And I just think that that's a huge, huge power move. Anything on there, Gabby, that you want to add? We are like crushing our timestamps here. Obviously, we have a plan. We're crushing it.
I think, Jen, to that point, what's the saying? If you're the smartest person in the room, you need to find a new room.
Heck yeah.
If y'all have been with the same crowd for a long time, you're going to keep getting the same results, right? They say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Guess what? That is exactly how your nervous system is wired, except it doesn't want new results. It wants the same because it's gotten you here and it's helped you be safe.
And it's safe, yeah.
And all it cares about is safety. All your nervous system cares about, y'all, is keeping you alive. And so if you are looking to step into entrepreneurship, you have to find new groups. You have to find new community. You have to find people who are going to show your subconscious mind that what you are dreaming of is even possible. I call them expanders, people who expand our horizons, right? They're doing what we want to be doing. I'm going to add this to our homework sheet because I didn't put them on there.
Yeah.
But think about that.
It's evolving.
It's evolving. But to Jen's point, Jen said, why most of us are traditionally leaving the traditional athletic training setting is because we feel unsupported, time, and money. And I will promise you, if you step, when you're ready to step, ready or not, here I come, step into entrepreneurship, you are going to be 100% unsupported. You're going to be working more than you're working now, promise. And you got to earn your own money. Now it's on you, which is so freaking empowering and so freaking scary at the same time. It's on you. For a long time, when I quit the physical therapy office, y'all, I picked up a waitressing job because I've been a waitress my whole life, right? Through college, my whole life. College, that's before I was an athletic trainer, I was a waitress of some capacity. Well, in Nashville, since there's a ton of singer-songwriters, the waitressing job offered me health insurance. And I was like, I'll never leave. Why do I have to leave? I was still working. I was building my business, working 1 day a week. I slipped under the radar, but just so I could have health insurance. But as I was building my business. And so there is going to be a give and take. We get that. Jen and I will never sit here as any sort of a coach and say, just do it. Trust yourself and go. Because
it took me 3 years. 3 years.
bills to
Yep.
be paid, food to be on our table. Like overall, if our nervous system is so overwhelmed, you're going to be frozen. And whatever your safety fight or flight looks like, that's where you're going to be, whether it's stuck in indecision or if it's just like that ping pong game where they're the balls, whatever, you're just going to be moving in crazy directions, making decisions. This was me as an entrepreneur, making decisions because I was scared of being told no, making decisions to appease people. When people told me my prices were too high, okay, how much do you want to pay? Like there was no grounded confidence in me. There was no full belief in what I was offering. And so I have learned that that is so important, absolutely so important. So you can charge your worth, so you can feed yourself and your family, and so you can actually grow a business that's going to make you money, not just be run off of you as the sole provider, right? So we want to make it so y'all can have some passive income streams coming in. It's not just a trade of time for money. And so often businesses are set up to trade your time for money. For example, if you're working with one-on-one clients, I saw a couple people in the chat doing this on the side. To Jen's point, you're offering cupping on the side. You're trading your time for money, right? So there's different avenues that y'all can take to start to create some more passive revenue streams. So it's not just another client, another client, another client. And now all of a sudden you're like a traditional, like a talk therapist, person in, person out, top of the hour, person in, person out. And you're just constantly, there's other ways to do that is what we want to empower y'all through. And so we also want to empower y'all that you have the tools, right? I know we've said this before, but yes, get your CS because you want to and you're curious about what you're going to learn. I went through yoga teacher training. I then joined a life coach certification course because I wanted to learn how to ask better questions, more questions, deeper questions. From there, I went and took a mindfulness course, MBSR through Brown University. I then went and took a breath facilitator training. I love to learn. I'm a forever student. And I've hired a business coach. And then after I was done with that business coach, I hired another business coach. It was $10,000. I promise you, even I invested $10,000 in a business coach, I would tell you it was a waste of my money. I already knew what to do. I just needed the accountability and support to do it. What I could have done is built a community for free that was going to hold me accountable and not but at that time I needed to spend the $10,000 really just to show me that I already knew what I needed and what I had. And so again, just to empower y'all, it's not just about more money, another certification, another business coach, somebody to make this beautiful website. I've hired VAs in the past to create content for me. It didn't generate any revenue. What generated revenue is building a community, building a network, and really getting my elevator pitch, my I help statement solid, grounded. What problem am I solving for people? That is the focus.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many good nuggets in your process and your experience and wealth. I want to just talk about that word wealth. That wealth is different for every person. And wealth could mean money, and it could mean prime, which is prime real estate. It could mean different things for everybody. And of course, money is nice. We have bills to pay and yada, yada, yada. But for me, one of the most gratifying things of being my own boss, and it did not happen overnight. It took 3 years of side hustle, saving money and putting it into a space because I am a risk averse girl. So I just saved money over the 3 years. Once I was like, I know this is not for me. I started creating my community, started practicing my elevator pitch and branding myself. I am my brand. And I think Gabby is the same. Like we are the brand. And that took years to do to finally get to a point where it was a make or break. And it was, I can keep doing both, or time is what's wealth for me. You know, at that point, I had to make a decision that if I wanted to be truly wealthy in my own life, I needed to kind of align with that as my powers, like saying, plug me in. Um, that was an important value for me. So I needed to take the leap and just do the thing. I set myself up the best way that I could from a financial standpoint and having a family on board. And then eventually you need to do the thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do the thing. Shall we do the thing?
Let's do the thing.
The thing. I'm going to screen share with y'all, and you will get this in the follow-up email after the presentation here. But from a business blueprint perspective, and y'all, we know this is a short time we have together to share a lot of information. So we wanted to make the sheet short, concise, and with the main bullet points that we thought were the main movers and a really beautiful place to start. Again, for our ideas people, most of the people who have filled out the survey were at the idea stage. And so how do we take it from idea to action? Start with your strengths. What are you great at? What lights you up? If we had more time, I would give you time to even journal on this during the reflection right now. And so what are you great at? What lights you up? For me, what was, and this is going to allow this, please allow this to shift, change, and morph. Because for me, it started off as the physical movement piece, and it started off with very gentle movement, in the sense of, I was a power lifter for a long time, and I loved heavy, heavy, heavy and fast. There is a beauty of slowing down, and I found that in yoga, and I took that and I was applying it to my power lifters. And I was applying it to the combine athletes I was blessed to work with, and the NFL players I was blessed to work with. There is such, and honestly, y'all, there were so many people who came up to me in my network wanting to work with me. Like, I don't really know what you do, but everyone says I need to work with you. Everyone says I need some Gab in my life. Like that. And so it's like, they didn't even know what I did, which is, for me, that's something I needed to work on. Like actually elevator pitch of like, okay, what is it I do? What problem do I solve? What is the I help statement around this? Let it always be around what lights you up. If it doesn't light you up, you can't build anything with it. And I say this from a place of, as an entrepreneur, y'all, you are going to be told no more times in your life than you've probably ever heard so far. You're going to get no. The best, honestly, what's worse than a no
yet.
is ghost. Yeah, well, honestly, I've been ghosted by people before. To me, that hurts more than if I just got a no. At least they acknowledged me that I received the email, right? From cold calls to cold messages. If I got a no, at least I know they read it. Versus if I heard nothing, that's the worst. And I will tell you, I'd rather get a no than to be ghosted. So again, but I didn't know that going in. And then pain point. What is the problem you solve? Y'all, if I could just stress one thing, niche down, niche down, however you pronounce it, get more specific. Who do you serve? How do you help them? I don't love the word help. I like to use the word serve. Yeah, because and we're not here to fix, we're not here to help anybody, but we can support them, we can serve them and build a community around it, right? So easy, so good. That's your network. That's where you're pulling your people from, your potential new clients. And then limiting beliefs. What's in your way of doing this? If you don't like
do we want to, I know you're flowing, but do you want to save this for the end, the worksheet, and do the Q&A? Because I know we talked about using the worksheet as our tough discussion.
Yeah. Yeah, that's perfect. But I think from a place of just these three things to start there. I didn't ask you what your name of your business was yet. I didn't ask you what your mission statement was. Don't get caught up in the little things, in the little details. Right? But from a place of mindfulness and mindset piece, like, what's in your way of doing this? If you're scared of being told no, here's the invitation. Your homework tonight, go do something where somebody's going to tell you no. Start looking for it.
In a very safe and legal way.
Yeah. Yes. Excuse me. Also that details. But y'all, if you're scared to put yourself out there, if you're scared of being seen, if you wear makeup every day, don't wear makeup. If you don't wear makeup, put makeup on. Right? Do your hair a different way. If you always wear glasses, put contacts in. right? Subtle shifts for your subconscious mind to start making those shifts, making the changes is going to be so, so very helpful. Cool. Yeah, let's take a breath. Let's take a minute, just a moment rather.
Take a beat. If there's anything that has come up in this discussion and you would like to share or ask in the chat, I've got a couple of Q&As. I know we wanted to do a little bit of Q&A, and everybody ends with Q&A. So we were like, we're not going to do that. So we're just going to be oppositional because that's what we do. So we're going to take a little break from just content delivery. We do have more to give you in the last 15 minutes, but wanted to honor some of the questions that came up in the survey, as well as anything that you might have. Maybe we said something that sparked, put it in the chat. The natural segue, I think, is imposter syndrome. That was one of the questions. And I feel like we dug into that a bit. And no one can be you, and you cannot be someone else. And so we have to lean into that. And I think any person who is running a business has been there at some point or multiple points or is in it now. So knowing that imposter syndrome is a very real thing, and I know Gabby probably has some magical suggestions and tools to work with that. But as someone who has certainly experienced that over the years, you look at someone's content on Instagram and you're like, oh, I need to post every day, or I need to create content that looks like theirs. Well, it's not yours, and it's never going to feel good. It's never going to feel authentic. So entrepreneurship is really coming to terms with your own authenticity, your ability to be a little bit vulnerable, to not know everything, to mess up and know how to pivot. I think that is advice that I would give myself, going backwards, is that it's cool to not have all the answers. Acknowledge it when you don't. Find people who do. And again, people can sniff out authenticity, I think. So if love how someone presents themselves, whether it's at a networking event, well, what is it about the way that they presented themselves? Was it their confidence? Was it their fill in the blank? And of course, if that feels good to emulate or be a model, love that. But trying to create a business model around the way someone else is doing it, it may work temporarily, but it's never going to feel good. And I'm led by how things feel. And I think it's just really important that you need to be you. That is what makes you different from the next person, and get real comfortable with knowing what your strengths are and acknowledging where there is room to expand and grow. And it's a lifelong learning process. So, there's that. Do you have anything to add on imposter? I mean, you could probably teach a whole series on that, I'm sure.
Yeah. And I definitely have. For entrepreneurs. We talk a ton about imposter syndrome, but because it is a limiting factor for so many of us. With that being said, though, y'all, I'm very anti, what's the phrase? If it's not a hell yes, it's an F no. New things feel scary because new things are scary. Like just because it feels not to say take action from ungrounded sensations, but get to know your body so well that like, oh, these are butterflies in the sense of I shouldn't be doing this, or these are butterflies in the sense of, oh, maybe it's exciting. Maybe there is something for me here. But what does it look like instead of diving head first into the deep end? How do we dip our toe? How I dipped my toe from an entrepreneurship standpoint was I was meeting with 2 people a week when I was quitting physical therapy, when I was doing, maybe I was looking for a waitressing job. I don't remember, but right at the beginning phases of, I was just meeting with anybody who would meet with me who was doing something as to what I wanted to be doing. And it literally looked like me asking the person in front of me, sushi lunch is cheap. It used to be, at least, I don't know anymore, sushi lunch, $5, $10. Coffees used to be cheaper than they are now, but whatever. But I would just take people out to coffee and I'd invite them to sushi lunch. And anybody who would meet with me and the person on the other side, if it felt like a good fit, I'd ask them if they had anybody who they would suggest me reach out to and meet. And I mean, I know we know that this world does have beautiful people in it. It is profound, the network that you can grow just by asking for help, just for saying that I don't know everything. And I think that somebody else might be able to support me. And so just to empower y'all, start asking questions. Start putting yourselves in the room, in different rooms, and in rooms with people who are where you want to be, who are where you, at least where you think you want to be. And start hanging out with those types of people. You attract what you are. And if you're looking to grow, you need to start being with other people so you can attract some more of that stuff. But from an imposter syndrome, sometimes you just need to start dipping your toes, right? So if it's a 10 out of 10 on a fearful scale, let's do some 5s, some 2s, some 4s. Let's do some things that might just feel silly instead of scary. And just start to dip your toe that way. And then you just start to morph, change, mold your nervous system to then be able to accept more no's, to accept more openness, support, so on and so forth.
Yeah. And I think it's the whole concept of just do something. That's the best advice there, is just do something, and that something will morph into something beautiful. I'm sure of it. Let's see, a couple of other questions. These are always the logistics questions. The ones that I see on Facebook, the ones that, can I pick your brain? I've gotten that. And I love that people want to ask for help. So I want to look at some of these questions with the caveat that there are always nuances. There are always or a but. So I will do my best to answer some of these questions in the best way that I can, or at least put you on a path to find the answer that you need. So I want to create a business, Gabby. I am ready. Do I need to create an LLC? What kind of business do I need to create? Can I be an independent contractor? Okay. So there are a few different ways to answer that question. If you are looking to bring in money and you are in the mindset of, I'd like to protect my assets, my home, my car, my personal belongings, I have an LLC. I believe, are you an LLC? Yeah, LLC as well. That would be probably my first recommendation, is it takes the legal liability off of you as a person. It separates Jen Tirillo, Gabriella DeLorenz from their business. We are two different things. When you are maybe a 1099 or you're doing things kind of under the table, you have to prepare for the unexpected. And unfortunately, while we hope the legality of serving others is, something that we are aware of, it could happen. It could happen. And so in my experience from day one, LLC, there are different types of LLCs, which I'm not going to get into, but you can go on SCORE, SCORE. It is a business platform online, and it can help you to answer some questions. So that would be my experience, is an LLC. Again, there are different varieties to do so. And then I think that would segue quite naturally into the next question about standing orders. Everybody wants to know about standing orders. Okay. Number one, I can speak to my experience only. And that experience would be, you need to know your state's Practice Act. Number one. I can speak to Connecticut because that is where I practice, but you need to do a search and find out in your state practice, how can an athletic trainer practice in general? who is your patient population? Okay. In Connecticut, we have a wonderful government actions committee, and an athlete is a physically active individual. So what that allows me, if I am saying I am offering athletic training services to my community, if I promote that, then I need standing orders. Okay. If I am saying I'm an athletic trainer doing athletic trainer things, I need standing orders. Okay. And my standing orders, I reworded with the help of some other people doing the same work, and it's a standard operating procedure. Very similar, but I have standing orders. When I LLC'd, or I formed my LLC business in 2019, I did not have standing orders. Okay. When I did not have standing orders, I was not touching people. I was operating under corrective exercise, movement, and strength training because I'm a CSCS. Okay. So I did not market myself as an athletic trainer. I marketed as I am a strength coach, leveraging my knowledge and education in sports medicine. Okay. But I was not assessing as deeply as one would assess as an athletic trainer would. But a CSCS would assess how a body moves, right? They would stretch them. Many times they do. So you have to understand the nuances there. But read your state practice act. We can have standing orders in Connecticut from a physician, obviously, chiropractor, APRN. There are a very few states that do not require standing orders. It's somewhere in the Midwest. I can't remember which, and it's really cool. You lucky ducks. But for the vast majority of us, we need some sort of oversight. So just know that if you are using the words, I am an athletic trainer, I am offering these things, you need to protect yourself. And to segue right over to insurance, you do need liability insurance. Okay. You should have liability insurance regardless. Even if your school has it, if you are an employee. I had the scariest moment of my life, my first year as an athletic trainer, who I had a kid have a subdural hematoma my first 2 weeks on the job at football. Yeah, it was a lot. And the first thing I was like, well, shit. Thankfully, I worked for a big clinic that had me covered. But from that point on, I was like, never again am I going to be afraid like that. So I have insurance. It's similar to what I had before as an employee, but you can change that to self-employed. Okay. So you have to look at your policy, making sure that you're covered. Business insurance is always a strong recommendation, just to protect whatever you have. I rent a space. I don't own brick and mortar, so that's a little bit different. Again, that is a completely different conversation. So look at your insurance policy, cover yourself if you're going to be practicing as an athletic trainer. If you're doing something else, leveraging a different certification, it might give you some wiggle room. But you're going to have to do a little bit of research because there's not one answer. And I'm sure Gabby had different experiences in Tennessee than she did in Connecticut. Do you have anything to add on that question?
It comes back to your network. Who signs your standing orders?
Yeah.
Right? Somebody who knows, loves, and trusts you. I say that in Tennessee, I had one of my good friends was a physical therapist. And so he absolutely, like when I went to him and I wanted to do my own thing, hey, I need somebody to kind of be my CYA is kind of how I presented it to him. He knew what standing orders were, so it's kind of helpful. But at the same time, your network. And so it's going to be somebody probably who knows, loves, and trusts you. The people paying you are going to be people who know, love, and trust you. Be yourself always. But from a place of build your network. It's going to be so helpful. Build your community and build your community before you're ready. Because they're going to be the ones talking about you. They're going to be the ones telling other people what you do. They're going to be the ones taking your mission and spreading it out into the world to then have, again, more come back to you is the goal always.
And, I think that's a hang up for a lot of athletic trainers is the standing orders piece. You have to cultivate relationships. There's just no way about it. And if you're afraid to ask, then you'll never know the answer, and you don't know until you try. And my supervising physician is a doctor I didn't get a job with. Oddly enough, I interviewed, got to a final round, really like gelled with this physician. We stayed in touch and I just kind of watered that relationship. And I was so scared. I was like literally being a baby about it. I just needed to ask. Yeah. I was alluding to, I'm doing this work and finally I was just like, okay, I want to be an athletic trainer and I want to do my own thing. And to my knowledge, nobody else is doing this in Connecticut. I would love your support. And it was like the easiest yes. He like answered by sending them signed. And I'm just like, well, I have been like sitting on this for months because I was too afraid to ask. And the last piece I do want to say that is important, and I learned from a business coach, and I want to impart that before we go into our last activity, is there's a thing called Stark Law. And Stark Law means that you cannot exchange money with a physician to cover your standing orders, meaning that patients have choice. Okay. And it's the same thing if you have a team physician for your school or your college. It is not a reciprocal exchange. That is against the law. Okay. They need to have choice. It's an option. I have a wonderful physician that, overseas. I would be happy to give Dr. So-and-so a call. You really want to see someone. We have a great relationship. Potentially I can get you in. Do you have anyone else in your network? I can make a few other suggestions. But if you only give one suggestion, then that patient feels I have to go to that person. And this happened when I was working in a prep school setting. They went to our team physician and it did not go well. It did not go well. It was very ugly. And essentially they went to a different practice, which is their patient right. That is their patient right. So just know that there should be no exchange when you bring on a supervising physician. This is literally an exchange that I'm an athletic trainer and I am, of course, I'll put you on my website as a referring partner. I will throw your names in a room, whatever that dialogue needs to be, but it cannot be, I'm going to send you all of mine. You have to be very careful about that.
Love that. So helpful.
Yeah. I get real passionate about things like that because it's like, it's scary. It's, you don't want to get yourself in hot water. And these are the things that we learn as business owners that, yeah, we're not going to give you a whole, like, this is how you make your business. We all know this, right? But there are some red flags that, like, if you were my kids, I would want you to know, don't do that. That is bad. All right, let's start to wrap some things up. And this has been.
Is there any other Q&A, y'all? Anybody, you can unmute yourself. We'll take just another minute here. You're welcome to unmute. You're welcome to hop in the chat. However, we can support you.
Hi everyone. Real quick, I know that we're getting like short on time. Like, is there like, are we open to follow up with you guys like afterwards? Maybe set up like a time to chat or hop on a call at some point.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Please, just shoot us an email. I'll put it in.
We're on Instagram.
And find us on Instagram.
We're baby business owners together.
And if y'all have an Instagram too, put it in the chat. We can all do a
little follow train.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little follow train.
Yeah, social media is a whole other topic. And that lands or it doesn't. It lands for me. I know Gabby hates it. And that Gabby's doing just fine. Y'all. And she is doing just fine.
Yeah. Man, that's such a great point. So Erica is asking if there are any other red flags we should know. liability insurance, I think, is the biggest. Standing orders liability insurance, biggest. And
if you're going to be an athletic trainer.
Yeah, and I say that from a LLC standpoint, liability, like as excuse me, I have liability insurance for to be an entrepreneur, like, and then I have my ATC, and then I have my yoga teacher.
Yeah.
I am operating my life coach. I don't really market myself as a life coach, although a lot of what I do is asking questions and things. I put that all underneath my yoga bucket. And so I could have additional insurance from a life coaching perspective, but again, I'm not marketing myself as a life coach. I'm marketing myself as a yoga teacher, as a mindfulness educator. And so I think those are the biggest red flags, at least in the beginning. And then as you're building your business, I would say, yes, there's a lot of red flags is this an aligned client for me or not? Is this, I'm going to leave it
Am I set up to pay my taxes correctly? Yes. Like there are a lot of different things that will come up once that business is formed. Mm-hmm. Once you make the decision of who am I serving, what's my pain point, all of the things.
Yeah, and paying yourself. Right? To Jen's point, if
pay yourself.
I use what's called, and I'm just going to give away some of our secrets. We said we weren't going to give away our secrets on this call because
we're flowing.
We're going to give away some secrets. But it's called the Profit First Method.
I use that too.
If you have never been an entrepreneur and you have just received a paycheck every 2 weeks, every month, you're used to that. As an entrepreneur, y'all, I went years without paying myself. I pay my bills, but I wouldn't pay myself. I had money in the bank. Perfect. I owe $100 on this, $20. I would just pay my bills, but I never actually made profit. Like I never paid myself. And so this profit first method from an entrepreneurial standpoint of we're not making a set rate every month. How do we budget? Mm-hmm. Profit first method uses the idea of percentages. And so, for example, at the end of however often you're paying yourself, 30% of your income is going to taxes. But at the end of my first year as an entrepreneur, where I'm actually in the green making money,
$0 I paid.
I didn't have anybody put aside for taxes. Yeah. It's like, wait, shoot, I owe what?
But that money's not all mine.
Oh, well, yeah, what the hell? And so I say this that is a red flag when you start making money. You're going to need it. Excuse me. You probably will need an accountant. I did because all of that was just over my head. Could I have done it myself? TurboTax? Sure. Yes. And TurboTax wanted me to pay $5,000 when I sent it to it was a client who became my accountant.
Jackson. I love that.
We're talking about bartering. One of my clients was an accountant. We bartered it. And so sometimes, yes, barter. For accounting help, yes, barter. When I handed her my same paperwork that I put into TurboTax, I got $200 back. Instead of owing $5, I got $200 back. So again, you can do it yourself. And I'm not here to say TurboTax is always going to screw you. But there's a person on the other end for me is always so helpful.
Mm-hmm. I did it myself for the first few years because I had done our families. And then last year I was just like, there's just too many things. And you get scared of, oh God, I got to pay another bill. I got to pay another person. Am I going to be able to do this? But man, it's interesting how the universe provides, and it is like you always were paying it, and it's the best money. Same, Gabby. It's the best money spent because it's about what is wealth to you, and for me, it's time, and not having to worry about did I claim everything I was supposed to? Am I paying too much? Am I not paying enough? So for me, worth it to spend that money. Yeah. We've got 5 minutes, girl. Let's go back to our worksheet.
Yeah, great.
We get excited about things.
I know. I will mention this, y'all. If anybody is looking for more of this information, please reach out to us again, either on Instagram or email is best for us. But please feel free to reach out. And if you're looking to learn more of this, we absolutely have an offering for y'all. We don't want to make this super pitchy, but part of our yoga rehab method, the first module is to teach you guys about movement,
Mindfulness and
about
blending.
mindfulness, how to apply it directly to your athletes. The first module, module 1, is learn yoga anatomy, and it will focus on helping you develop a new revenue stream should that feel supportive. Again, yoga has made me Soul to Soul over $1 million company. So when I tell you that you can absolutely make a life doing what the heck you want, I mean it. I mean it. I have 2 beautiful children, a 9-month-old and a 2.5-year-old, and I am blessed to still continue to be able to what I do. And I'm not having an employer, somebody call me and saying like, you're here, you should be there. But like, you can do this. I have profited over $1 million. Like it could be that profound with the right steps. And so within module 2 of the yoga rehab method, we will be focusing on building a business. We'll touch on some of it because we don't want to leave you high and dry for those who do want to start, learn the yoga and how to apply it and to make some money doing it. But the module 2 will be absolutely the place where we are going to focus on building the thing. And so if you guys are looking for more information on that, again, please feel free to reach out. We're happy to share more. But with keeping up with the mindset business mind on, I will share this screen. And I know we moved through strengths, pain point, limiting beliefs. This is where Jen and I both believe is the best place to start. What lights you up? What are you great at? What problem you solve? And y'all, again, this pain point can also be your I help statement. If that feels helpful as a helpful shift instead of what problem you solve for people. You can also think about your niche. And typically I call this a client avatar, is get so specific on the person you serve. One of my business clients right now, we're helping grow his business. I'm helping him with the mindset piece of feeling confident, but he's a physical therapist. He wants to do his own online training. He's looking for more time freedom. And so we're building his business through the lens of how can we create more passive? He is a marathon runner. He's trying to run his first ultra. I don't know why they keep finding me. I'm not a runner.
I have a lot of marathon runners too, and I am not a runner.
Oh, great. So he's training for his first ultra while he's trying to build his business. He wants to work with ultra marathon runners. And so the problem he solves, the person he works with is ultra, like so specific. Get more specific as the problem, who you serve and the problem you solve. That's going to be, and like, let your personality shine in it. If you're weird, be weird. If you're dorky, be dorky. Dad jokes are my favorite thing. I think I started this with a dad joke. But be yourself. Be yourself. And then think about, why are you here? Right? Why do you do what you do? Who do you do it for? That's the mission statement. From there, think about naming your business, and you'll see in our brainstorm freely, even if you're not ready to commit. So many of my clients in the business world just get hung up on what the heck they're going to call it. Y'all, I don't care what you call it. People aren't calling me saying, oh, are you the owner of Soul to Soul Wellness? They're saying, oh, is this Gabby? I'm looking for Gab. Yeah, that's me. You know, the best part is I was wearing my shirt the other day and someone's like, oh, Soul to Soul. I know Soul to Soul. I was like, oh, you do? Like, wait, are you Soul to Soul? Yes, that's me. No, but truly, like, then you build the brand, then but then it starts to come right back to you. It's so good. It's so good. So don't worry about the business name. Worry about who you do, who you help, and just focus on, again, I think Jen called it an elevator pitch. If it's an I help statement, if it's just how can you portray through your words what you do in 2 minutes or less?
Right. In an elevator ride. You only have that much time.
Yep. From there, do your market research. We had to include, go read your state practice act. What are you allowed to do versus not allowed to do? Locate others in your area who are doing similar work. What are they calling it? Who's their target audience? How much do they charge for it?
That's hard stuff to find, let me tell you.
Yes.
It's not easy.
And it involves having conversations. And so if there's nothing you've taken out of this, let it be build your network, get clear on who you serve. Why are you here? Who do you serve? What problem do you solve? And start talking about it to anybody who will listen. If it's your mom, if it's your dad, if it's your guardians, if it's your siblings, if it's your partner, your spouse, start there. The only person signed up for my email list for a long time were family and friends. I think some of my family and friends have discontinued getting my emails, but whatever. But also, y'all, I say this, so many of my clients are like, well, I'm not going to put what I do online because my mom follows me. Block your mom. If you're scared about your mom seeing it, block her little butt. But whatever is leading to indecision, if it's a limiting factor, right? Start a whole new Instagram. One of my clients is like, well, I've been on Instagram for so long. All my friends from high school are following me. I don't feel like sharing my story with them. I don't feel like start your own Instagram. And if they're following you, they want to be there. Share whatever it is you need to share.
Yeah.
And just start practicing.
I love an action item. And I think that's kind of how we'll close today. And we'll send the recording, obviously. So if you feel like you want to see this again, our shining faces, you'll get that. And also this one pager. Highly recommend, as soon as you get it, don't hang on to it. Do it.
Mhm.
Just start getting some work done. And if you get hung up, you can come back to it. That's fine. But do it. Do something, take action. And, we're here to support, whether it is to answer more questions. Again, the email is there. And if you are curious about Yoga Rehab Method, that's our big passion project. And if that's something you're like, okay, I can see myself leveraging that knowledge for, additional revenue streams, we're happy to talk about it. That's in October of this year. And we've taken up your time, and we hope there was value for you and have taken a couple of nuggets. But also want to be respectful of your afternoon. So I think that's where we will wrap it up.
Thank you all so much for being here. Have a beautiful day. And
Thank you, Erica. I appreciate that. Take care, guys.
yeah, thank you, Erica. Have a beautiful day, y'all.
You're
Thank you, Sarah.
You're welcome. Thanks for being here.
Jackson. Thank you, Deborah. Appreciate y'all.